All right, let's talk about one of the most high-stakes parts of running any team or business, hiring. We're going to turn the whole process from a guessing game into something a lot more like a science by building your ultimate interview toolkit.
But first, I want you to really think about this question. Is your current process actually finding the people who will be amazing at the job, or is it just finding people who are amazing at giving interviews? Believe me, there's a huge difference, and that's exactly what we're going to tackle today.
So here's the big idea. Stop thinking of the interview as just one thing. Think of it as a toolkit. I mean, you wouldn't try to fix a tiny screw with a giant sledgehammer, right? The same logic applies here. Different roles need different tools to figure out if someone's really the right fit.
Okay, let's open up that toolkit. First up is the one we all know, the one we've all been through a million times, the traditional interview. This is basically the classic get-to-know-you conversation.
Really, its job is to check the boxes on the resume and just get a general vibe from the person. You're asking them to tell you about their skills, their experience. Basically, you're getting their version of the story. It's a broad, conversational starting point.
Now, look, it has its place. It's pretty easy to do, and it's fine for an initial screening. But, and this is a big but, it is a terrible predictor of how someone will actually perform in the job. Why? Because it's so easy for people to give you those polished, canned answers they practiced, and it really opens the door for our own personal biases and gut feelings to take over.
Oh yeah, this question. We've all heard it, right? This one question just perfectly sums up the whole problem. It's not asking for proof, it's asking for an opinion, which leads to that classic, totally useless answer, well, I guess I'm just a perfectionist. We need a tool that cuts right through that kind of fluff.
So how do we get past those rehearsed answers? Well, we pull out our next tool. This is the behavioral interview, and it's based on a really simple but incredibly powerful idea.
And that idea is this. The best way to predict what someone will do is to find out in detail what they have already done. So you stop asking, what would you do if? And you start asking, tell me about a time when. You're asking for a specific story, a real example. And you can see right away how this flips the script on the traditional interview. It's way, way better at predicting success because it's all about evidence, not just talk. It's fantastic for digging into those crucial soft skills, like leadership or how someone handles pressure. The only catch? The interviewer has to be a really good listener to pull it off.
Think about a question like this. It's almost impossible to fake a good answer. You can't just say, oh, I'm great at resolving conflict. No, you have to tell a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. You have to lay out the situation, what you specifically did, and what happened. That tells you so much more than any hypothetical answer ever could.
Okay, so we've heard their stories, which is great. But for a lot of jobs, we need to know, can they actually do the thing? Can they prove their hard skills? That's where our third tool, the technical interview, comes in. It's absolutely essential. This is the show me, don't tell me part of the whole process. We're moving past the conversation and into a live demonstration. It's a direct test of whether a candidate can actually perform the technical parts of the job, right there in front of you. The biggest advantage here is just how objective it is. The person can either solve the problem or they can't. It's a really powerful way to verify those skills. But you have to remember, it's a very specialized tool. It's not going to tell you anything about their communication skills or if they're a team player. And, not going to lie, it can be super stressful for the candidate if it's not handled well.
And a prompt like this, it's not just about getting the right answer at the end. It's about seeing how they think. How do they break down the problem? Do they ask clarifying questions? How do they talk you through their process? You're testing their skill, sure, but you're also testing their entire thought process. So we've got our three core tools: the conversation, the story, and the test. Now the real secret here isn't to just pick your favorite one. The real art is in knowing how to blend them together to create a process that's way more powerful than any single tool on its own.
So what does that look like? It's actually pretty straightforward. You start with a short, traditional interview just to screen the basics and confirm what's on the resume. Then you go deep with a behavioral interview to really understand their soft skills and past performance. And finally, you verify the hard skills with a practical, technical challenge. Each step builds on the last, giving you a complete three-dimensional picture of the candidate. But you have to remember this. Even the world's best toolkit is totally useless if you don't know how to use it. Having a great process is only half the battle. The other half, the most important half, is mastering the art of asking truly great questions and, even more critically, listening to the answers. That right there is the real secret. So as you head back to think about your own hiring, ask yourself this: which tool in your toolkit needs sharpening first? Is it time to finally move past just having a chat and start asking for real stories, for real evidence? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.